Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. with you any given Thursday by Chat Sports. Let's get you caught up on the latest around the Dallas Mavericks. More buyout candidates to discuss. Want to focus on one here to start, though, Chase. That would be one Robin Lopez, who is a name that's kind of heating up around the buyout market. I know Mike Fisher mentioned him as a possibility for Dallas. And let's face it, after losing Kristaps Porzingis in the trade, like it or not, you lack rim protection, you lack some rebounding. Not that Lopez replaces that, but I think he certainly would help in that front.
Yeah, like you have a couple of athletic bigs on the Mavericks roster, and I really like the roster construction under Nico Harrison in year one. I think he has a nice little blend of talent. The emergence and the better play of Reggie Bullock has really helped this team. We'll see what Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans can bring to the table eventually. But when you look at the front court, you have athletic bigs, and then you have one big center in Boban Marjanovic, who really is a liability against some of the other athletic bigs out there.
He's Luka's buddy.
Robin Lopez can give you that size, but give you more from an athletic standpoint than Boban Marjanovic. So I'd actually like it in that way.
I completely agree. I think it'd be a nice addition. I think he's in the rotation immediately if you go get him, assuming he does get bought out. And that's important. Sure, Maxi Kleber coming off one of the best games of his career, quite frankly, probably the best game of his season. Dwight Powell, those are two nice-ish pieces, but add Lopez to the mix because after those two guys, you just don't have a lot of proven front court depth. Lopez can come in here, play 15, 18 minutes a game. He can score around the basket. He can block, half a block a game, a block per game. Also, the underrated aspect of rim protection isn't necessarily blocks. It's altering shots. That's what all good shot blockers do. They make shots difficult in the paint, and that's something Robin Lopez has been good at for a very, very long time. He knows who he is as a basketball player. What's interesting, and very limited shots, Chase, 40% from three this year. So
yes,
maybe he can knock down
in less than an attempt per game. But
sure, hey,
if he can chuck it up a little bit like his brother,
makes a three every other game. That's
stretching up the floor is valuable.
Little bonus as well. So we'll ask you, should the Mavs sign Robin Lopez? Type S for sign him, type P for pass. Let us know, and we'll break down some more NBA buyout candidates. Let's get into our updated NBA buyout candidates, Chase. Goran Dragic has been bought out by the Spurs, so he is free to sign elsewhere. We'll see if and when he does sign. A lot of other names to keep in mind here as well.
A lot of suitors for Dragic, who is an all-star with a bunch of playoff experience. I really think he's going to help move the needle for a playoff team out there, depending on where he does sign. John Wall could get bought out, but for him, making a lot of money this year, so does he agree to that buyout? Dennis Schroder with the Houston Rockets after getting traded there in exchange for Daniel Tice from the Boston Celtics could also be a guard who can start or come in off the bench. I really like Gary Harris. Same can't be said for DJ Augustin, but Gary Harris is a really, really good player, and I think as a three-level scorer coming in off the bench would really give you good depth if he's bought out, if he signs with another team.
WOJ'S teams in the mix. Is this for Dragic as we sit as of now? Brooklyn, Chicago, Golden State, also the Clippers, Lakers, and Bucks. Now, people are like, hey, Dragic was at the Heat Mavs game the other night. He played with the Heat forever. He's wanted to play with Luka Doncic. You never know. Maybe those teams are some dark horse possibilities. I do think he's for sure going to latch on with a contender, Chase, as we progress toward that March 1st deadline.
Yeah, and with some of those teams, Portland Trail Blazers, they trade away Norman Powell. He goes to the Clippers, but now he's out with that broken foot, so they're in need of a guard. I think that Dragic on the Lakers could really help them offensively, although Russell Westbrook last couple of games has been playing very well. Golden State, he gives you really good depth. Lonzo Ball still out. Alex Caruso turning the corner with his injury, but Dragic there seems like a solid fit as well. I think the New York Knicks should be in play for Dragic's services because they desperately need a point guard and somebody to just calm down the offense late in games.
Just don't think he's going to sign with a non-contender, and the Knicks are not contending this year. John Wall doesn't sound like there's a lot of momentum for him to agree to a buyout. Of course, he's making over $40 million, has another year on his contract worth $47 million. So we'll monitor that and see if something changes there. But I don't anticipate him agreeing to a buyout. Maybe something happens this offseason via trade or a buyout there, but I think he's just going to hang out this year.
It was great to see him come back off of a couple of injury-plagued seasons last year and play well with the Houston Rockets. Hasn't played a game at all this year after last campaign, averaging 20.5 points per game. Gives you a lot of the same athletic traits as a Russell Westbrook, sometimes breathtaking in the open floor. Not the most efficient offensive player, but a guy who can really push the tempo, push the pace, and really play make for you. I want to see good players on the floor, and John Wall's a good player. We haven't seen him on the floor this year, though.
Who is the best buyout guard that is out there? I think if John Wall became available, he's the answer. Dragic for sure currently. Yeah. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Let us know what you guys think on this one, the best NBA buyout guard on the market. Now, we got some of the best hoodies available on sale for you guys at chatsports.com/NBA hoodie. Hoodies for all 30 NBA teams, a lot of them on sale as well. Go check them out, chatsports.com/NBA hoodie, whatever your favorite team is. Some of these player team combos, too. The Ja Morant with the Grizz logo on the front, that's a clean one as well. Different style jackets. I love this Hornets
30K Oubre
as well. 30K Oubre. Could be 40K soon. Who knows? Chatsports.com/NBA hoodie. Go check them out. Whatever your favorite team is, they'll have something for you. Link will be in the comments and in the description of this video. Let's go to the wing spot, Chase. A few names to keep in mind here.
I think this is the weakest position group of the NBA buyout candidates. I frankly don't like any of these players. At one point, I was a fan of Jeremy Lamb, but this year he's been awful, as evidenced by the numbers we're about to show you. Rodney Hood just doesn't really do much for me. Kevin Knox, a bona fide first-round bust, got traded to the Atlanta Hawks in that trade for Cam Reddish. Neither of those players are playing. Tomas Satoransky gives you a little bit of size at that wing spot. Kent Bazemore, I think his best days are behind him as well. Now, Jeremy Lamb certainly has pedigree. He's been in the league for a long while. He's had a couple of good moments, a couple of good years, but this year hasn't really played all that well. 7 points per game, 2.5 boards, 37% from the field and sub 34% from distance. You take a look at a player like him, you compare him with the Kevin Knox. Do you take an opportunity and a chance and a swing at Kevin Knox, who's the younger player, but hasn't been able to show anything? I think Tom Thibodeau not playing him early in his NBA career has really impacted his confidence.
It's weird. Knox, his first year and a half,
wasn't bad.
Looked like a guy who would be a solid rotation player, but once Tibbs got in there, he was not a Tibbs guy. Has not been the same. Jeremy Lamb, like you mentioned, is certainly a guy who's had a couple of good years, has been a floor spacer, but you've kind of seen that a lot this year in the NBA. Guys just having down shooting years due to the new rules. Some say the new basketball. I don't know how much I buy into that at this point in the season, but I tend to agree. I think this position group is definitely among the weaker ones when you look at some of these buyout candidates. Will Kevin Knox ever work out? Will he ever turn into something? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I hope he's at least hitting the gym, right, producer Jeremy? At least work out once or twice a week. I hope he's doing that. Y for yes, in for no. Will he ever turn into something? I hope we're working out at Chat Sports. I think we're doing pretty well. We're closing in on 280,000 subscribers. We're actually less than 200 away. Hey, maybe we can get there on this video. Hit that sub button. Spread the word. Let's get to 280,000 subscribers. If you want more NBA coverage, we are the channel for you here on YouTube. We'll keep it moving here on today's buyout candidates video. Let's look at some of the bigs here. A hot name right now, Chase, is Robin Lopez. Yeah. I think he'll have some suitors.
No, and of the position groups here, we talked about the wings being the weakest, Harrison. I think the NBA buyout bigs, the strongest of these position groups. Yeah, you can say that Goran Dragic, John Wall are very good guards, but the depth here and the players that you can get for teams who are front court needy, I think these guys are very good options. Robin Lopez, Juancho Hernangomez, Paul Millsap, we'll see if he hangs on with Philadelphia. Didn't play poorly in his debut in that blowout loss against the Boston Celtics. DeAndre Jordan, I just don't think he can really give you much as a center who can't do anything except hang around and hover around the basket. DeMarcus Cousins in spurts on some nights can be a pretty solid playmaker. You look at what Robin Lopez has been able to do this year. I think he's the top big who could be made available by far, averaging almost 8 points per game, high-level defense, solid rebounder, decent rim protector, shooting around 57% from the floor. He is a career around 70% free throw shooter. That number sub 60 this year. But for a playoff team, if you're able to bring in Robin Lopez as your backup big, I'm talking about the Golden State Warriors of the world, and he can be a backup to Kevon Looney and James Wiseman. If Wiseman continues to struggle getting back onto the court, Robin Lopez could be a very, very nice player there.
I think even a team like Dallas, who needs some rim protection.
Philadelphia behind Joel Embiid.
Yeah, Kristaps Porzingis. I think he could certainly help there. So I think he's a guy that's going to be able to pick from a variety of teams, assuming he does get bought out. Some other players, maybe some lesser names, but still some guys that are out there. Of course, Derrick Favors, Enes Freedom, of course, who got traded by Boston, then bought out by Houston. He's available. Gorgui Dieng, Moses Brown, who got waived by the Mavericks. Drew Eubanks is out there. A little lesser name here, but a guy like Derrick Favors, Chase, he's not having the year this year, but he's had years in his career where he's averaged basically double-doubles. I think he could definitely be a backup big. And I think a team like Utah, who's very familiar with him, would certainly be interested in bringing him on board.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, he's playing for the Oklahoma City Thunder now, but at 30 years old, it's pretty crazy to think that this guy was drafted number 3 overall back in 2010 and never really lived up to those lofty expectations from when he was drafted out of Georgia Tech. A lot of people expected him to be one of the best bigs in the NBA. Instead of that, he's been steady, he's been consistent, he's been somewhat serviceable. There's a youth movement in OKC, and that's why his numbers are down. Still getting around 17 minutes per game, 5 points per 5 rebounds, shooting around 52% from the floor. He's not going to stretch his game out to the three-point arc, but if you want a rebounder, if you want an energetic presence, if you want a veteran who a lot of people respect and a pretty solid defender, Derrick Favors can bring that to the floor.
So who is the buyout big that's the most talented? Who do you like the most? Let us know. I think it's Lopez because he's an instant credible defender.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, 15 minutes off the bench for a contender, I think, similar to like a JaVale McGee in Phoenix, right? Like, just score around the rim and play defense. Like, that's all you really need out of him. Let us know who is the best big on the buyout market.